What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 256. We are back with your weekly gaming show covering all the biggest topics in gaming with industry, technical, and legal insight. And the fabulous four, well, not really fabulous, but the four of us are back here today in normal form, starting with Mr. the Man, the Myth, the Legend, Mr. Rodriguez. How we doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm here. It's always I always like it started off like I've actually made it again. So
is he blurry? Are you blurry, Dan?
Maybe. I'll have to take my camera off here in a second. And yeah,
that's how Dan looks in real life when you meet him. He's slightly blurry.
Oh, he's like Bigfoot, just naturally out of focus.
Yeah. Always. No, that does. It does.
Hey, that's the host of Cox Radio you're speaking to. Yeah. All right.
OKX 1310, Keokuk, Iowa. That's right, buddy. That's what I do.
We were talking prior to the show about our first jobs and the things we did when we were younger, and learned that Dan was a DJ radio host. So there's something for the audience today that you didn't expect.
We literally used like 45s at times. That's how old the station was. And a lot of it was, just our
You might want to explain to Travis what a 45 is.
Yeah. I thought you had a gun. I'll be honest. You said you have 45s. I was like, it's like country music, like they're like shooting guns in the air while they.
It's a single vinyl. It's just a little tiny record, and that's what we would use. Our playlist was a bunch of like 3x. There's little note cards that you have in a little plastic basket, and you would just pick the first one and then put it in the back of it. And there's a few hundred songs, and they were all old. It was like super old, like. I mean, I don't know, man. It was bad. But we did a lot of like Chicago Cubs games, and I'm a huge Cubs fan. So those days were great because you could just sit there and you just press the button every time the commercial popped up, and you just went, and then you just listened to the Cubs game. It was fantastic. Then we had a country station that was completely automated. Like we did nothing. Like it was all automated, and all we did was record the weather. And then we would go, and then we would insert that into the, whenever it popped up. And then they would do St. Louis Cardinal games over there. And you'd have to just sit there and press a button every once in a while or do the weather live.
That was very labor intensive.
It was
really stupid. Played both Cubs and Cardinals games?
Yeah, well, we had two different stations. We had KOKX 1310, which is the AM station. Then we had like 95.9 country something, And then I was new to that high school and that town. And they were like, oh, man, I heard you on the radio. We were listening to this. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. It was so bad. It was such a small town. Like they would give us stuff to give away, like free pizzas or like a Hardee's sandwich, and nobody would call in. So I'm like, eventually I got to the point where I was just like, hey, anybody calls, I'll give you like 3 free Frisco burgers, whatever it takes. Just call, talk to me for a second. But nobody would ever do it.
Oh my God. All right, that's great. Moving on to the Hoeg himself. Good morning, man.
The Hoeg. I like it.
The Hoeg. Yeah, that's how you should introduce yourself from now on. The
Hoagie. The Hoagie.
I wasn't a DJ at any point in my life, but I did work at the electronics boutique.
In the mall, you said?
In the mall. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right next to the maternity time.
Nice.
So I was the guy on my lunch break, my 15-minute long lunch break at Chick-fil-A, who would run down to Electronics Boutique and look at the games I couldn't afford. So that was cool.
Nice.
We couldn't afford them either.
Yeah. And last but not least, the Tie Guy himself. Not Tie Guy Tyler. Tie Guy Travis. Good morning, sir.
Tie Guy Travis, yeah. I was a radio DJ at one point. We didn't talk about this before the show, but yeah, I had a nerd talk show in a local San Francisco-based radio network, and people would call in on my show because I would say things that nobody agreed with, and it would get nerds all riled up, and they'd call me. We also did a thing called a spoiler cast, which is not at all what you think it is. It was people would give us the phone numbers of their friends, and then we would call them up and spoil the endings of things that they were currently enjoying. That was our version of a spoiler cast. We would ruin their day with their friends' permission. So they would have to get mad at their friends. And we do it live on the radio, and then we just hear them rage.
Now through the power of the internet, Tie Guy Travis brings it to all of you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I've really moved up in the world. Or down. I don't know.
Yeah, Stacy said true to form. Yep.
True to form. Yep. Yeah, that was my contribution to our show. Yeah. And I worked a number of retail jobs as a youth that I was fired from because I was very unlikable and still am. Yeah, it's good times.
It all adds up.
It all adds up. My origin story, my dark origin story.
Well, it's been a rather quiet week in games. So today we're going to be talking about Hoeg's got some thoughts on Final Fantasy 16. I'm sure Dan does as well. So to share, we want to talk about a little game, VR game of all things, called Synapse that came out this week. We're going to be talking extensively about the Game of the Year race. I went through this morning and kind of put together all the games that are released because we're basically right at the halfway point of the year, along with what's coming the rest of the year. And it is absolutely absurd, like we've all been saying. So we today are going to do something a little different where the four of us are going to bet on what 6 games will be the finalists for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. And whoever does worst on this, whoever gets the least number correct, has to play a game that the other 3 of us will pick for them at the end of the year. So maybe we'll make it a holiday event and we'll come back and do that. But we hope that Dan loses because we already have pre-purchased Oxenfree 2 for him due to his severe love of Oxenfree. But we'll see what happens here. This should be fun. We didn't decide, guys, if there's a tie. Do both people have to play or 3 people? What happens if all 4 of us tie?
Oh, I mean, I would love if all 4 of us were playing games we didn't want to. That could be its own show.
We need to find a terrible 4-person co-op game that
we just have to play 3 games Travis reviewed under a 4.
Yeah.
Won't be hard this year. My God.
All right, we'll figure that out, but it should be fun. We're going to pick that today. And then, of course, we've got a few little news items to cover. But, of course, to get us started, we do have a super chat right out of the gate from Mr. Googleman himself, getting us started prior to the show like he does every week.
Googleman. All right, with the €5. Yesterday, I saw a video on Moto Pizza, and suddenly my envy level for Ains rose significantly. The Apple Plus Foundation Season 2 is upon us as well. All right, Moto Pizza.
I don't know what Moto Pizza is.
I don't know either.
I know.
It's a pizza joint, I'm assuming.
Pizza joint where it's like Chipotle, like you choose all the toppings right there in line for your own pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, he's spelling it Moto, M-O-T-O. That's different than the one I'm familiar with. Okay, maybe I don't know what that is then.
All right, Google, you're gonna have to explain it to me because I don't know where my name comes in.
I feel like his comment every week is designed to make us not understand what's going on, right? That's my understanding is that he's just messing with us every week for €5.
Like he said, Google it, which is kind of ironic.
I just did. They're not even close to here. I don't know. We've got something else like that. I can't remember what the hell it's called.
It's called Spin.
Well, that's even Spin. There was another one. It was like,
I mean, I don't
know.
Yeah, there's lots of them, but
there's
a lot of them. Yeah, they're a thing now.
By the way, Foundation is excellent. If you haven't watched Foundation on Apple TV, really good sci-fi show, and season 2 I think comes out next week. Yeah,
just don't expect it to reflect the Foundation books.
No. I didn't know there were for Foundation books.
Yeah, is that a different series, or does it not do a good job of reflecting the books? Is that what you're saying?
Does not do a good job of reflecting the books.
Okay.
They're very famous books.
I don't know anything about them, but it's probably why I like the show, right? That's the problem with, if you know the books, oftentimes I think the movie of the shows let you down.
I think the show's okay.
But you can like them as just different things. Yeah,
they're just different.
Yeah, that's
Moto Pizza appears to make bizarre pizzas, by the way. Their website is cool. I wouldn't have done as much animation, but that's me. I don't make pizza sites. So
but here's what we have to come up with. All right, so you've got this Moto Pizza website, but why would anybody be envious of Ains because it exists?
Yeah, maybe he thought he lived in Seattle.
I don't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
We've got Pie Fly.
I think Googleman's job is to make our first 10 minutes awkward. I think that's his goal.
Oh man.
Well,
good to see everyone. He got us again. He works. It works. Thank you for the super chat. In all seriousness, Googleman and chat. Good to see everyone this morning. Also wanted to shout out Tyler Owens from last week. If you were unable to, or if you missed us last week, I should say, we had Tyler Owens from Respawn Entertainment, who had previously worked on Rocket Arena, Halo 5, with 343. It is now on Apex Legends. It was a great conversation about kind of live service games, kind of misconceptions and other things to do with how games are developed. So if you missed that, I would highly suggest checking it out. He had a good time and really complimented us in the chat and everyone. So thank you for that last week.
Awesome.
All right. Guys, why don't we go ahead and get into kind of currently playing. I know Travis has a banger of a game he's ready to talk about. So Travis, what game will you be adding to IGN's article soon around the god-awful games that you are made to play for review over there?
So I can't talk about the game yet because I am under embargo,
sorry.
but
Okay.
I can tell you that I'm currently playing a game that I am desperately not enjoying. And it is probably going to end up on the playlist that you were referencing, Ains, or IGN playlist of terrible games IGN has made me play. And my problem with this one is that this game is not just bad. It has the audacity of being bad and extremely long, which is the worst combination of things to be. And so I have spent almost my entire weekend playing this game. I am not done with it. The review is due tomorrow. I'm probably near the end though. I had a breakthrough last night at like 3 a.m. I'm suffering currently. But the good news is,
Yes, if you
once that
thrive
stuff
on
ends,
Travis's suffering, know that he is suffering.
Yeah.
I am suffering. Don't worry. The good news is, I've reviewed a couple good games this year, a lot of good games this year, including Dave the Diver most recently. And my next review, I think, is going to be a good game. We'll see. Remnant 2, a game I've played a good amount of due to covering it for IGN in March for IGN First. So yeah, I've got good stuff ahead of me. But yeah, I'm currently in the midst of a hellish gaming experience, and it is just everything I can do to not scream, because I am hot off the heels of wasting my 4-day holiday weekend on Nintendo's Everybody Wants You Switch, which
Your
was
article was so sad.
It was a sad game. It made me sad. Yeah, it was a very odd situation to be in, because I don't live with enough people to review a party game without reaching out to others. And so I found myself last weekend inviting myself to as many parties and barbecues as I could, and then making everybody there play this game. I had no option. I had to play this game as much as possible. And if you play an hour-long party game that does not go well at a party, it kind of ends the party. Nobody is going to play with you a second time, so you have to find another party to go to. Like that was the situation. Is I would go and be like, hey guys, actually, I'm reviewing this game. Would you guys be down to play? And then they play it and they'd be like, wow, that sucked. Let's not do that again. And I'd be like, cool, I'm gonna go. And then I would try to find somebody else to
Travis
foist
and
this
Horace
game on.
ruining barbecues across the 4th of July.
Literally, I ruined probably 7 parties last weekend, and it was terrifying. I a lot of my friends are not happy with me right now, so that's my current state of life. So anyway, that's what I'm dealing with. I'm playing a couple bad games, but I got Remnant coming up and I'm excited for that game. And yeah, that's me. That's what I'm doing.
I am too.
Yeah, a lot of people excited for Remnant 2, and that comes out soon. That comes out on the 20th, right?
It comes out on the 21st, 22nd?
Oh, 25th.
25th. All right. So
Yeah,
I've got
it's on
15
the
days.
list
I'm getting it tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the 21st is Pikmin 4, I believe.
Oh yeah. I'm excited for that game.
Let's see, what
Very
am I
cool.
playing? So I beat Final Fantasy 16 this week.
Yes. You said it's your favorite game of the year, and you gave it a very high Hoeg score. So explain this to me, sir.
Yes. Well, I mean, as I've often said, it's all expectations based to some extent, right? So like the one game I had dismissed of being a game I was really looking forward to this year was Final Fantasy 16, even though I have a natural tendency towards liking Final Fantasy stories. Final Fantasy is my favorite series in video games. But Final Fantasy 16 surprised me when the demo came out, and then I've been playing it for 2 weeks, beat it this week, and overall, it's one of my favorite experiences of the year. It's a strong story that goes places that I'm not thrilled about, but I have a certain amount of leniency towards Square Enix on this because it's not quite as horrible as like Final Fantasy VII Remake and what it decides to do at the end. And everything is relatively explained, even though I don't like all of its explanation. So without spoiling anything, I enjoyed my time. It was an enjoyable 2-week period of every night playing Final Fantasy 16. I highly recommend it. And yeah, I gave it a 9.5, but just these numbers aren't as important as the fact that the game is good.
Yeah. That's probably about
And where are you out with it?
I finished it.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Nice.
It was, I'd say, I'm about to say, I'm not as big of a Final Fantasy fan, obviously, as Hoeg is. So my expectations were pretty, tempered, I guess. And that doesn't, I usually, hold things pretty high. But it was one of those games where I was just like, you know what? I played the demo like Ho did, and I did. I really enjoyed the combat, and I was like, oh, this might be good. And then, the story kind of hit, at least in the demo, the quick, it hit pretty hard. And I was like, okay, maybe they've done something amazing here. And they did. I think it's a great game. There are just moments in that game that are amazing. And it's those, I could probably name them, but for spoiler reasons, I won't. It was fantastic. I had a really good time with it. It was a nice break from something I would normally not play. And it was a nice new experience. And I think it works as far as, it's definitely a Final Fantasy game. It's definitely not an RPG. It is very action focused. And I think they did a great job with it. I think, going forward, whatever they want to do, now we kind of know they can do both, that Square can. So, whatever they decide going forward with 17, inevitably it'll be, I'm along for the ride. It was great. And also Hitman 3, of course.
What would you say? So I've seen a few people say that because of the way the systems are designed in this game, their opinion was this should have been a named Final Fantasy game rather than one of the numbered ones. Any opinions on that either way?
I think it's too big for that, though. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely enormous and it's definitely expensive. I mean, one of the things that's really good about Final Fantasy 16 is the polish level that you don't see on other types of games. Mm-hmm. Certainly not on Stranger Paradise or anything like that. So it's very highly polished. There's the number for that reason. And I think once you have 11 and 14 kind of in the discussion, you can have weird Final Fantasies, even though I think this is not the right direction for the series to go long term. I would wind it back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake combat, which is a lot more turn-based action rather than just action. Yeah. And I think that'll be an improvement for them, because I do think one of the problems that they have is they kind of get stuck in the middle area, which is that it was good for me, but probably not for action fans, that it's just really not as technical as they sold it. It's not Devil May Cry. It's a lot less than that. It's sword swinging with cooldowns, but it also isn't tactical, even like a Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it certainly isn't an RPG. I mean, one thing that they have to work on, even if they want to go this direction overall to get to Final Fantasy 17, is party members and other skills for people or something like that switches between things. And they worked that out in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they worked it out a little bit in Final Fantasy 15 DLC. But it is clearly a loss for the series that it's so focused around one person's perspective in a story that is grand and sweeping. They built a Final Fantasy story, but just having it be one person's perspective is enormously shrinking of what that experience is like.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I said last week, I didn't get back to it this week, so I can't really comment intelligently here. But I would say that because of what we've talked about, right, the lack of RPG elements and gear building and party building, I don't have a big want to go back to it. There's nothing really pulling me back. I do want to see these grandiose moments that you and others have described, because it sounds like from everyone's experience, those are the things that really kind of define it as a game, are these kind of huge moments, boss battles, cinematics that are really kind of high level in terms of AAA production quality. But I just don't think I can put in the 30, 40, 50 hours in between to get to them. That's my problem I'm having with it.
Well, I mean, I think it's got a lot of scope and certainly some big moments. If I had to make a criticism of those big moments, again, from a kind of mechanical perspective, they're not that interesting. Big icon fights are big, but a couple of them in particular, I think, are wasted on not having a lot going on with what you're actually doing within them.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of button pressing, press square.
Yeah.
It's a little bit closer to almost a Asuma's Wrath, or I can't remember what the name of that game was.
Azura's Wrath.
Ashura. Yeah. On some of the older system where you've got these huge things that ultimately wind up being press R1 or press square. Or
well, even in the demo, though, the icon battle in the demo that you play is like a on rails shooter thing. You're just aiming and tapping the button over and over and over again. It's cool looking, but boring.
You guys
really.
are describing video games.
I mean, hopefully you're holding the button down. You can hold the button down.
Oh, I probably didn't even know that.
But yeah, that's one that I think is really well done and works well with the music there. The icon fights have certain weird things going on in them, especially the really big ones. But for the most part, they kind of collapse into you're a bigger person hitting bigger numbers and using the same buttons as when you're not. Like that's most of the icon fights. So it's not as awesome as maybe people would hope it to be. And so I don't want to oversell like the icon fights, because I think they're big in terms of the flashiness of what's on the screen and certainly the music, but they aren't that mechanically interesting.
No.
I like it overall because the story is a very Final Fantasy grand thing. I don't like one of the choices they made with what they did for the ultimate real story that is not shown in any of their trailers, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We do have a super chat from Siddharth. Good to hear from you, Siddharth.
Was that the Indian rupees, right?
Indian rupees, yeah.
Okay. I remember. Final Fantasy 16. Feeling this game had branding confusion. Really don't understand how it's an RPG.
It's not.
Definitely not. No. Really fun game, though. Bit on the easy side for normal. That's also true, and that's coming from somebody who loves easy mode. Final Fantasy mode, but Maniac packs, some solid punch, but they set the wrong expectations by calling it an RPG. That is true, for sure.
Yeah,
it's not an RPG, but I don't know what you call it, right? Because it's like a really long action game. I mean, it's essentially God of War Ragnarok. It's a better story. I enjoyed it more than Ragnarok, but if you think about it like Ragnarok, you're in the right brain space for what this game is.
Yeah,
action adventure.
Action adventure.
Maybe. Yeah,
that's what I would say. So, Siddharth, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. He said it's his first Final Fantasy game, by the way, too. So, Guybrush asks in the chat. He said, "Does anyone know if the combat on higher difficulty is less brain dead?"
Say that.
Well,
I haven't seen
it.
Does it get harder on higher difficulties?
I don't think combat is brain dead at any difficulty, but it is very kind of MMO built, which from the lineage here, it has a feel of a single player Final Fantasy 14. And so the bosses have telegraphed moves and they have spaces you shouldn't be in and things that you would expect more from an MMO with an action bent. But at the higher difficulties, I haven't noticed much difference, if any. They hit harder, so you have to have your perfect dodges better. But I don't think it's really a different experience so far that I've seen. And you only get access to Final Fantasy mode after you beat the game.
Yeah.
Hoeg, that was a terrible rebuttal. When Guybrush Threepwood asks you if the combat is brain dead, you always say, "How appropriate, you fight like a cow." Everyone knows that. Come on.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
By the way, that's the response to "you fight like a dairy farmer."
That's right. Yeah. Or later on, you have to use it as a response to other. Remember, they mix it up on you, the formula.
I mean, I think you do the duels again, yes.
But they don't. You have to match the punchlines with different insults. It's a good part of the game. It's my favorite part.
It was
a tangent here,
but yes.
So, yeah, we're going on a tangent here. But if you haven't played Monkey Island series, you absolutely should. And the reason I have it on the brain is not just because we have a user named Guybrush Threepwood who reminds me of that game all the time, but also I'm getting ready for the Sea of Thieves crossover, which I'm super excited about.
I'm going to start a profile called Governor Elaine just to really
that would be awesome.
By the way, Sardinisms. So Sard, I think I've said this before, but the member comments don't actually show up over here, so I have to pull them straight from YouTube. She just said I have a weird theory that Final Fantasy 15 is like Kraft mac and cheese for video games. It's either comfort food or junk food, depending on your history. So I don't know where people fall in Final Fantasy 15. That game didn't do much for me personally.
15 is more than the sum of its parts, but it's evident even more after 16 comes out how broken and empty 15 is.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then Alex, Super Chat, who reviewed Final Fantasy 16 for us at Season Gaming.
Yeah. Final Fantasy mode has thrown late game enemies with more health. It's got harder after the Garuda fight.
I believe it.
I played only a little bit of the Final Fantasy mode, and it just feels the same with, you know, but like he said, just higher health levels for these enemies, and that's basically
Wait, hold on. You're
Yeah.
telling me there's a Final Fantasy game and you have to beat it to unlock the mode called Final Fantasy mode?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a little on the nose with like people talking about how this game isn't a Final Fantasy game. They made a separate mode where apparently it is a
The
Final
achievement
Fantasy
for
game.
beating Final Fantasy mode is called Fantasy Finally.
Yeah. There's a lot of little things like that.
I'm very excited to play more of this game. I gotta say, I gotta do Remnant next week, but after that, I'm gonna dive real hard back into Final Fantasy 16. I gotta finish that one.
Yeah, no, I think the difficulty is fine. I mean, I think it's clear that they don't want to put up a gate between people that don't regularly play action games and love Final Fantasy, but it also isn't as fulfilling with some of the toys that you get in terms of button presses or actions or spells or anything like that, right? Like what you're fighting is always going to impact how much fun you're having with an engine, even if it's great. Like Diablo isn't as interesting if you're just wiping everybody and you don't care about what your build looks like.
Agree.
But
Agree.
That's a criticism that you can levy at the game. I just don't think they would have wanted to ramp it up further. It's not Kingdom Hearts 3 where you just roll through everything until they patch in a mode that doesn't let you do that. So I think they had a better handle on what difficulty they wanted to hit than on that game.
Yeah, I was going to say that it was a big turnoff for me in the first few hours of Final Fantasy 16 of how handholdy it was. I know I talked about that last week too. And I know I'm in the minority, right? I don't think that really bothers a lot of people. But for me personally,
I don't think it's very handholdy as a game. I think that prologue is very linear, and it's designed to get you to the point where they flash the title card at you.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's very simple. Maybe it gets better. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a relatively simple combat structure. It's not going to wow you with mechanical complexity. It's not.
Yeah. There was someone on, obviously just a trolling video, but there's a video someone put up on Twitter a couple days ago where they fought a boss fight in it, and they literally held the controller with one hand, and they were just tapping, hit something, tapping, hit something, tap something. And it's like, okay, it looked kind of ridiculous. But anyway, all right. So Synapse. Let's talk about Synapse, which is a game that released earlier this week for PlayStation VR 2. Guys, keep me honest. Is this on other VR platforms as well, or is it PSVR 2 exclusive? I forgot to look that up. Does anyone know?
I think it's PSVR 2 exclusive, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I didn't find it on Meta, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
I've got it on
So this is from End Dreams as a studio, and the premise is that you are going essentially as an investigator into the mind of this I don't know the word you would use, not serial killer, like it's not that dark, but
it's a general that's gone crazy.
Enemy of state.
His name is Conrad, which is not on point at all.
Yeah, and the thing is it's got obviously full 3D levels. You can move around yourself, gun combat, but then the big thing, of course, is you kind of have these mental abilities where you can grab things around the environment and control them, and just this kind of flow of combat between what you're controlling around the environment and actual shooting is very interesting. I'm still rather early in it, so I don't want to talk too extensively about it, but I have been extremely impressed so far. And
It's
I think
great.
that the people I've spoken to who have reviewed it formally or are further than I am have been raving about it. It got very high review scores. People are saying that, the comments I've seen from the reviews were around that, this is the kind of key piece of software for the PSVR 2 to date, anyway.
They
It
should have
feels a
launched
bit like
with
a killer app.
this. Yeah, they should have launched with it, is my first impression. I have also not played a ton, Ains, and I want to finish it first. But my thoughts are it's a great idea. It would have made the PSVR 2 probably more successful if they would have rallied around this instead of Call of the Mountain or whatever. It's not as good as Half-Life Alyx. It's still pretty far away from that, but it's damn good VR game. I mean, those are in short supply these days.
Yeah. In fact, the only thing I have, and I don't know, I'm sure others experience this too, but I don't experience this too often. I don't have problems with VR usually, but as I was moving around the environments, I started to get motion sickness. And that stinks, because it kind of ruins the experience for you. So I played the intro, and then I played another level or two. I can't remember how far. But I had to take it off at that point. I couldn't keep playing, which sucks. You hate that. But I think that again, it's the difference between those VR games. Maybe I need to switch it because I think it allows you to kind of teleport through levels or.
Oh, you're not doing that?
No, I was walking. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I started to
We
feel
do
sick.
not do that, Ames. No, we teleport every chance we get. That is the way to play VR games.
I walk.
Yeah.
Really?
We're all walkers.
It didn't impact you at all, Ho?
No, it didn't. But
Wow.
No wonder you had a stroke. What's wrong with you? That's crazy. I can't do that, man. I can't do that in any VR game.
No, it's fun and it's easy to play for long stretches of time. It's a rogue game, so the ultimate goal is to win like 9 levels, and you're not really set up to win more than a few at the start. So you get to level 1, level 2, level 3, kick back, you're dead. You have to do certain achievements to get certain perks and skills that'll get you better guns or better health or better psychic powers within the space. And then, we didn't really mention psychic powers, but you're able to look at things because the PSVR 2 has the eyeball stuff. So you can look at things and then pick them up with your offhand, move them around, and hit people with boxes or explode explosive containers and feel like you're in the Matrix while you're also dodging and weaving and shooting bad guys. And you have a cool little tactical map on your offhand that when you flip over, you can see where people are in comparison to you, and you have to kill 20 people in a level or 40 people or whatever to open a portal to get to the next level. And ultimately, you're trying to get to the subconscious of this guy, but none of that really matters as much as you're in a tactical space fighting people and having fun.
Yeah, and it's got like a full skill tree and kind of more abilities you can unlock and stuff. So it's more of a fully featured kind of experience in that vein, which I really appreciate as well. It's cool. Go ahead, Travis.
Can I ask some more follow-up questions about you walking in VR? I have a lot of questions. How big is your area for VR?
I'm not room walking. I'm using the joystick to move in space.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So your brain is disconnecting from. Oh man, that's throw up city for me. Because I have to do one of two things in VR. I either have to teleport, which is by far the easiest. It's weird for like 30 seconds, and then you're like, oh, this is supernatural, and you're just jumping around. And then or you do full body movement where you're walking everywhere. But for that, you require a large space. And I have a pretty decent space, especially for where I live. But it's not that big, right? And the one where you're controlling the stick, the problem is the disconnect between what's happening to your body and what's happening to the camera. That's what makes you puke. And so I 100% get that. But I don't throw up because of like frame rate stuff. I did on the PSVR 1 because that was crazy. That was that
well, I think the PSVR 1 and the Oculus Quest are where I got my VR sea legs. So I definitely recognize that happened. I essentially just fought through it, and you get to a point where it's fine.
Interesting.
Maybe I need to play more.
I reviewed games. I reviewed No Man's Sky, and that game, like, I was moving around a lot, and I threw up during that review probably every day, sometimes twice during that review period. That was like a super painful review.
It's not great for your video game to cause the reviewer to throw up.
Dude, that was in my review.
Yeah,
it was in my review. It was like, hey, good game, like No Man's Sky. turn on teleport mode or you will be hurting. So
yeah, one of the things we were talking about that. We were talking to Jason Ronald at Xbox about. We asked him the question around why Xbox hasn't gotten into VR like PlayStation, and we were talking about some of those things. And one of the things he said about overcoming the challenges of what VR represents, besides obviously mass market and all those other things, is exactly this, right? He's like the movement. He's like VR will be more mainstream when the movement you do on the screen, when the sensors have something to make you feel like you're actually moving, because that's the disconnect you're talking about, right? Your eyes see you moving, but you're not actually moving, and it throws your body off.
I think the teleport is a perfect solution because
I played another shooter that you teleport. I forget the name of it now. When it came out,
Borderlands, the Borderlands 2 or 3 had teleport. Their VR or Borderlands, whatever it was. Didn't one of them have that?
It was 2 on PSVR 1. Yes.
Yeah. That was the first time I ever had some kind of teleporting thing.
Most of the narrative theme park ride type games have teleport, and I didn't even check to see if Synapse had one, but
yeah, it does. I think when you first turn it on, it gives you like 6 kind of core options you can change, and I'm pretty sure that was one of them. I wanted to try walking around because I don't know, just out of habit, it feels more natural to walk through the environment, right, and move. But after I did, like I said, 3 levels or whatever it was, I was like, oof, I had to take it off, and I literally sat on the floor and just sat there for a minute because you have that kind of weird I was like, oh, I
get like a weird like brain headache. Like I get you ever get a headache so bad that it makes you puke? Like that's what happens to me. Where like I just get like a headache and I'm like, oh no, something's happened to my brain, and my body's response is just to throw up. It's pretty intense.
And it's not feel good. Quick to recover either. Like I had to
sit there for a dude, you feel bad for like the rest of the day. You feel a little uneasy. Yeah. Great for weight loss.
The VR anorexic diet. Oh man,
you really will.
Shout out to Brentwood Chick. Just gifted 10 memberships on both channels. Chic, damn it! I do that every time. Thank you. Every time I do that.
You chauvinist piece of.
Thank you so much. Super appreciative. Super generous. Thank you for that. But yes, anyway, if you're one of the 8 people who did buy PSVR 2 like me and Hoeg, definitely check it out. Or the 3 of us. Wow, we're like 30% of the market.
Mrs. Hoeg got it for me for Father's Day.
Yeah, it's almost like we work in the industry and we have to have.
We need to talk about it. Yeah. Definitely check it out. It is really, really impressive. And I think it also benefits from obviously the far increased fidelity of PSVR 2 versus, the old PSVR 1, which basically anything does.
Oh, Synapse is flashy.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I forget how much I think it's $30 or $35.
I think it was $30.
Okay.
35.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It might be the flashiest VR game so far, actually. Because that's something where like Half-Life Alyx is like a very good game, but it's not like it doesn't have like all the particle effects and crazy visual production value of this game. So this game is like very polished in that regard. So it's cool. It's great. It's a great show.
It's very cool.
They should have led with this first party.
I wonder if they meant to and it just wasn't ready. Because I mean, they're only 4 months post launch.
You wait.
Oh, PlayStation was trying to show Call of the Mountain as their, first party showpiece, but it didn't land that way. Not that it's bad, it just didn't hit on that level.
Was that a Curb Your Enthusiasm reference they're trying?
That was a Curb Your Enthusiasm reference. Good job, Dan. Dan gets bonus points for getting that. Then you wait.
I did not get that. I apologize.
Yeah. Nice. I love that. Dan.
For the handicap bathroom.
I was just gonna let it go by. Nobody's gonna get that old Curb reference. But yeah, there you go.
That's fantastic.
That's great. By the way, I did start watching. Tyler talked about last week Mythic Quest. We were talking about that on Apple TV. I did go back to it and start watching. I've watched like 9 episodes this week. It's really damn good. Yeah. Like I've definitely gotten into it now. It's really good. So,
all right, guys. Devs last week, I went into like a memory spiral, trying to remember how that show goes because it's so freaking weird. Devs.
Devs. Okay, yeah, I haven't watched that.
I love that.
It's not about video games as much as it's about predestination and God. But it does star Ron Swanson.
My favorite subjects in media.
Okay.
I love that you got one recommendation to watch Mythic Quest, and then you did it. And
Yes.
you probably had to get a separate subscription to do it.
No.
And
I had already started Mythic Quest. I
okay.
had stopped watching it. Yeah.
I was gonna say because I have recommended players to this group.
You have.
no
I
less
haven't
than
forgot.
4 times, and none of you have watched it, and it's making
Literally
me very
on our Discord this week, someone said, "By the way, Ains, you should watch Players. Here's what Travis was talking about."
yeah.
So
it's very good.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember where it is. You told me, and I
think you can watch it on Amazon. I think that's where I watched it. It's on like Paramount or something, but I think it was like on Amazon as well. So that's how I watched it.
All right, I will check it out. I promise. All right. Any other games you guys want to talk about that you're currently playing before we get into kind of the whole year worth of big games here?
I mentioned it last week, but I quite like Rain Code on the Switch.
Okay.
From the Danganronpa team.
Still playing it?
Right. Yeah.
It is wild and weird. Imagine if solving mysteries were instead done through a Japanese role-playing labyrinth.
Labyrinth, like Persona style labyrinth?
Actually, Persona style labyrinth is a great kind of explanation. It's in concept the same. Like in Persona 5, you go into people's hearts or brains or whatever, right, and get their secrets. Yeah. In this case, a mystery labyrinth is formed by the mystery in the real world, and then it asks you questions in order to pick the right door. And you fight bad guys that are essentially like Ace Attorney fights. They say things, and you have to pick the right piece of evidence to use as your sword of truth to cut through their lies. And it's wild and weird, but it's great. It's also a noir, which is not terribly useful, not terribly usual for an approach to these kinds of games. So it's like, it's a cyberpunk noir thing where the corporations have taken over and you got to try to fight through the untruths that they are putting upon the world.
How many cigarettes do you smoke?
You don't personally, but
then it's not noir.
The mentor figure is smoking a lot.
Yeah, there's got to be at least 5 cigarette smoking characters, or it's not noir. I think that's the law. I don't make
it's a requirement. Yeah, he's not wrong. This is Switch only, or is it on other platforms?
I believe it is Switch only.
Okay.
Its full name is something like Detective Master Archives Rain Code.
Yeah, classic.
Okay.
They know their audience. They know their audience.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
Good for them.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and time for the game. Almost. So so let's talk about. As I sat down to do this, and I know we did this a couple months ago, but I kind of laid this out with updated, obviously, through this week of what has released this year and then the big games that are coming, because we've had release dates move, new games get announced, etc., through the June showcases. So it reminded me of just how absurd 2023 is, and I think we've honestly forgotten like how absurd this year has already been. So here's what's released so far, and I want to hear from you guys. I know we already said that Final Fantasy 16 is kind of Hoeg's favorite game of the year, but so far this year we've had Hi-Fi, and these are in order of release, by the way. So we had Hi-Fi Rush, which is an 89 meta, Dead Space Remake in 89 meta, Hogwarts Legacy 85, Metroid Prime Remastered at 94, Octopath Traveler 2 86, Resident Evil 4 93, Star Wars Jedi Survivor 85, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom 96, Street Fighter 6 92, Diablo 4 91, Final Fantasy 16 87, and Dave the Diver, shout out Travis, 89. So that's already 12 games that are basically in the mid 80s or higher meta, and that's not all of them, obviously. That's just kind of the things that are more recognizable, I think, so far this year. For me, I know I've already talked about Diablo 4 is my personal favorite game of the year so far, but I think a case can be made for a lot of these games. Where are you guys at so far on your favorite game of the year that you've played? And to be fair, I don't think any of us have played all of these extensively enough.
Was Jedi's number not high enough? Oh,
85.
It was on there.
Okay.
85.
Yeah, I said it's on there. Yeah, April 28th, 85. I think it was. These are, by the way, these are all from Metacritic and just the first one that I came across. So there's obviously a little movement here and there, but I think Jedi Survivor, if you recall, may have been a little lower, only because it had technical issues right at launch.
Yeah, I think it'll be on Game of the Year list though. It's going to be on mine.
We'll get to that.
I'm a simp. Look at me.
Look at this guy.
Star Wars necktie on right now. This one's New Hope. I've got one for every movie in the saga. It's whatever. It's fine. It's
you
cool.
should just wear a Last Jedi tie every week.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually worn a Last Jedi tie on the show, and then nobody knew because you can't really see my tie. Like people, I've seen commenters be like, he just always wears the same tie. Guys, there's a whole ecosystem down here that you don't even know about. So there you go. Surprise, surprise. I like Star Wars. It's going to be on my list.
So if you had to pick your game of the year to date, and we'll get to obviously the second half of the year, where are you at right now?
Tears of the Kingdom is the best game this year. And I think that's probably going to be on all of our lists because we're not stupid, right?
I think
if we're trying to win the game, like Tears of the Kingdom is on the list.
I think Tears
what's
of
funny
the
is,
Kingdom
go ahead.
Is going to
it's the de facto
be
choice, right? In terms of prediction. Yeah.
If it doesn't win, it will be extremely surprising. I think the only thing that could possibly do any harm to it is Starfield, which I think is also going to be on a lot of our lists, even though it hasn't come out. That one's a little bit of a risk, but I think anybody who knows the pedigree there, I think it's probably a safe bet that it's going to be a contender because I think
it'll definitely be on the 6.
Even if it doesn't meet the extremely high expectations of that studio, it is so ambitious. I feel like it deserves a shout out just in terms of what it's trying to accomplish. So we'll see.
I agree.
I'm very excited about that.
So nice comment here from Matthew. Says, been a while since I saw a last video. Been a while since I last saw a video. Really nice to see Rick with such a big smile on his face.
Yeah.
Love it. And chat, feel free to answer your favorite game of the year so far too. I'd love to hear what you guys think. But Hogue, correct me if I'm wrong. You said Final Fantasy 16. I said Diablo 4. Dan, where you at?
Man, I don't know because I mean,
I could say Hitman did not release this year.
Well, I mean, it's a live service game, so technically it's all right. So I would say it's pretty close. Like just from fun and my personal enjoyment, it's either Hogwarts or Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
From like if I were to look at it as objectively as I possibly could, I would say probably. I mean, Diablo's also up there pretty high. I still am playing Zelda, so I don't know if I want to, it's amazing. I can't, knock it down. But a lot of these games I haven't played either. So, but those two in particular, and Diablo's probably there in an honorable mention, and Final Fantasy 16. I mean, this year I don't play as many games as I used to, so this year has been kind of an anomaly for me. It's been one after another, and it's been awesome. I wish it could be like this all the time, but I have no idea. And then coming up, I mean, we've got Spider-Man 2 also, which
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Excited. Yeah,
I like Dan going full
you named like 8 games.
All the games.
Okay, I do.
What's your one favorite game so far?
I'll just say Star Wars Jedi Survivor because I'm
nice.
Star Wars. Yeah,
love it.
Fair enough.
But Travis, I don't think that would make my list when we get to that point.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll get to the list later.
Fool. Yeah. What's that?
What's your favorite game so far this year?
Ooh,
here we go.
So it's
we go.
No, hold on. It's an odd situation because my inclination is to say Tears of the Kingdom because those were the moments where I was most like blown away, But the problem is I've only played like 6 hours of Tears of the Kingdom. Like it is a paltry sum. And so that's just because I don't have time. I don't really get to choose which games I play these days. I'm constantly reviewing games, and that presents a problem because if I don't review said huge game that everybody loves, I often don't play it until I find a pocket of time, and then I burn through it as fast as I possibly can because I just want to finish it. And so I'm wont to say Tears of the Kingdom, but I think personally the one that I've dove the hardest into and been the happiest with is either Diablo 4 or Star Wars so far. Okay. Also, Dave the Diver, like that one. So here's the thing: is it seems like if we're going by the
not just me, guys. Not just me.
No. This is me now thinking of my 6. If we're going by the 6, like
no, we're not doing the 6 yet. Just your favorite.
I know. But I'm thinking.
Just trying to think through because the Game Awards pretty traditionally does one from each an indie game.
Exactly. That's exactly it, Hoax. Yeah. So my thing is that they're going to do one from each, and then they're going to do like a token mini game that will never win. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of their move.
I get that, but we're not there yet.
Whoa! Whoa.
All I asked you, what was your favorite game so far?
Yeah, probably Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think there's
Okay.
anything that's reached the height of like the first 3 hours of Tears of the Kingdom where I was shocked at what that game is because I didn't look at any of the trailers or pre-marketing material. And so I played it and I was just like, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to be like this. And it filled me with childlike wonder. It was really great. So probably Tears.
I am okay, fair enough. We got a bunch of comments. We've got a Star Wars. We have a Tears of the Kingdom. We have Hogwarts. I'm trying to look through. Hi-Fi Rush, someone said as well. I also like that this guy, shout out to Jose, says Final Fantasy 18 is his favorite. So love it. Love it.
And if they release 16, 17, and 18 in 1 year, that would be a heck of a thing.
Obviously, we know you mean 16, so that's cool. We got a Final Fantasy vote there. Yeah, so I think it's already been a great year, but here's where things get interesting. And I didn't realize, we've talked about it, I know, but September and October are just, they don't even make sense at this point. But here's what's coming up the rest of the year that I think will be somewhere. There's a couple smaller games in here I just wanted to shout out for the heck of it. But for the most part, these are the kind of major, if you will, games coming the rest of the year. So we've got Dan's favorite, Oxenfree 2, releasing this week, actually, July 12th. We've got Remnant. We've got Remnant 2 releasing July 25th.
Nothing.
Remnant 2 releasing July 25th. I just shouted this one out because I think it looks amazing. Disney's Illusion Island releasing July 28th.
I'm surprised you shouted out Remnant. I don't think that's on anybody's Game of the Year list.
No, he did it in lieu of Pikmin 4.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. No one's worried about that.
Did you just come on Pikmin 4?
Baldur's Gate 3.
About Pikmin.
Yo, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of plants at you and watch them beat you with their pedals. Like, how dare you?
Okay. Wow. Let's try it. Let's see what happens.
4 is going to be a highly rated game.
It's me throwing.
Don't ever make that sound again.
Dude, Pikmin is amazing. By the way, I have all 3 of the other Pikmin games downloaded on my Switch, and I'm planning on playing through all of them. I'm going to do one day. I'm going to do 1 day every day. 1 day in game.
My daughter loves Pikmin, and she hates Pikmin 2 because she doesn't like the concept of being in debt.
Nobody does.
She lives
right there with her.
Welcome to life.
Yeah. Hello.
I will continue to nurture this feeling for as long as I can.
What about Animal Crossing?
She loves Animal Crossing, but she hates Tom Nook.
We all do too.
Wow. She hates an entrepreneur. Sounds like a useless taker to me as the
what a socialist.
The parasite.
What
does Andrew Ryan call them? Yeah.
By the way, I got through 3 games before this tangent.
Sorry.
We got Baldur's Gate 3, which I'm hugely pumped for. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys about that game.
That has been the bear in that game. Have you guys seen that?
There is bear F stuff in that game, apparently. Yes, as a druid.
So I'm on board.
This was moved up this week to August 3rd, so that's less than a month away now on PC. September 6th on PS5 to get away from Starfield. Funny enough, there is Immortals of Avium August 22nd. Armored Core 6, of course, from Software August 25th. Sea of Stars is kind of been a darling game so far. August 29th.
Wait, Armored Core's coming out this year.
August 25th.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yes.
That's so soon.
And it's a month and a half away. And I never doubt From Software. They just
they just released Elden Ring last year, didn't they? Wasn't that last year? No, what are they doing? That's oh my god! This is blowing my mind. I figured that game was like 2025.
Dude, FromSoft and Capcom are just they're crushing it on all cylinders right now. Like they're killing it.
It's because they go to the office. Those bastards.
Starfield, of course, September 6th officially. I think September 1st early access. Lies of P is September 19th. Mortal Kombat 1 is also September 19th. Forza Motorsports October 10th. Yes, I know it's a racing game. Shut up, please. October 10th.
Nominated.
Lords of the Fallen, which looks fantastic. One of my most anticipated games of the year is October 13th. Really? Alan Wake 2, October 17th. Spider-Man 2, October 20th. No. Super Mario Wonder, October 20th.
Oh my
Same day.
god!
Same day.
No, there's so many. Oh my god, this year's crazy.
And then I don't know if these will be Game Award eligible, as we always joke about the damn date he does, but you have Persona 5 Tactica, November 17th. The same day as Super Mario RPG, November 17th. And then you have Avatar Frontiers of Pandora closing the year out on December 7th. And of course, I left off quite a few games as well, but those are kind of some of the major ones we've talked about that, will probably play in the space. So when you look at this list, you've already got several games in the 90s, a bunch of games in the high 80s so far this year. And then you've got another 15 plus games that could compete at some level depending on how they launch and the reception and everything else to go along with them. I think there's some obvious ones that'll probably get recognition, right? But generally speaking, the year is absurd. It is absolutely absurd how many major games are releasing this year.
What is the
seemingly
cutoff date? Isn't it November?
It's usually like mid-November.
November, yeah. So is that Mortal Kombat? Is that going to meet the?
No. Mortal September.
Oh, God.
It's on the list right in front of you. So November, I put that Persona 5 and Super Mario RPG November 17th are probably not eligible, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and Pompo says Phantom Liberty as well. That's an expansion, so I didn't put it on here, but that's in September as well.
Yeah, that one got a nomination. Jeez, man,
so
this game is crazy.
So it's kind of crazy. I haven't even picked my 6. I'm going to make a notepad right now for our bets that I will type out and save for later this year. Why did everything on my screen just disappear?
Travis did it.
What in the hell? That is bizarre.
There we go. We're back.
Right. At least we're still live.
I taketh away and I return it. I giveth. I don't know.
All right. Sorry about that. Like literally everything disappeared on my screen. All right, guys. Who wants to go first here?
Why don't we go for like a everybody does one? Yeah,
round robin.
Round robin. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be the hardest way for Ains to document it.
No, I'd like to. Yeah, I want to make it as difficult as possible.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
then make it as difficult as possible for Ains. I think that's a good idea.
I think so.
No, I'm happy to go.
Go ahead.
Tears of the Kingdom.
All 6.
Write it down, Ains.
Diablo 4. Sea of Stars. Starfield. Baldur's Gate 3. Spider-Man 2.
Whoa. Okay. Okay, all right. I don't think so. I think you're correct.
All right.
Some of those.
Hoax. He's throwing balls out there.
He's doing haymakers. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's risking it. Now this is what
what's
we
not
think
on that list.
Get ready to play a dating sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final Fantasy didn't make it. That's interesting.
I'm putting Romancevania on mine.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Oh, you're not going straight to Eternites?
That's a bold list, Hogue. That is
very bold.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better now because I mean I was taking this pretty seriously because of the threat of Oxenfree 2. So I will just roll down this list real quick. I agree with Zelda will be there. I'm going to go with Final Fantasy for sure. Is that 2? Starfield will be on that list. I'm going to also go with Spider-Man 2.
What?
Listen, this is a Jeff Keighley show, dude. Something's got to show up.
I mean, that is.
Don't make him change his thoughts.
No, go ahead.
Go on.
Where am I at here?
You got 4.
I got 4. Did I say Diablo yet?
Nope.
We should just grade on how many whats we can get out of Travis.
Yeah. I'll say Diablo 4. And then I need a indie game that is probably slightly going to be overrated. That a bunch of people will be like, it's the best game ever.
By the way, on that note,
yeah,
there's still a chance that Hollow Knight Silksong releases this year. Sure. And if it does release this year in time for the Game Awards, I'm giving us all a mulligan if we want to switch one of our games out for that, because there's it's a pretty good expectation that Silksong is going to be amazing and review really high. So let's just put that out there now.
No,
you need one more thing.
I'll keep I'm going to go indie spot.
You see, I'm not even going to pick one. I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to be safe here. This is more of a, I'm just taking the odds.
That looks like a pretty good odd that you're going to be playing Oxenfree. I like it.
I don't like it. I don't think so. No, sir.
Like I said, I haven't even made my list yet.
None of us have.
Travis,
I'll
I'm
go.
listening, but I'm going to start putting mine on here as well.
All right. All right. My list is going to be Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to put Diablo 4 because I think people hate ARPGs. I think
You're the only one with Star Wars so far.
Starfield. Yeah, I think Star Wars will be on the list.
Starfield?
Street Fighter 6
Mm.
and
Just do Forza. Please.
no, thank you. I'm not going to lose that bet.
It's not a Horizon.
How many am I at? How many am I at, Ames?
You got 4. You've got Tears of the Kingdom, Star Wars, Starfield, and Street Fighter 6.
Okay. I will put. Ooh, okay. Political.
While you're doing political, while you're doing that, I did want to mention to Dan, to your point, when I was looking back on the year, I did have a ton of fun with Hogwarts Legacy. I
Right.
really liked that game.
It was
game
so
I
much
just don't
fun.
think the Game Awards is going to buy any of that
No.
extra attention.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. But I just want to
That
call
is
out that it was
100%
a great game.
That's exactly why I said political. I was like, that's not going to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to actually put Dave the Diver. That'll be my kind of out there one. I think that'll be indie, and also I think it's gotten enough attention. It's so high on Metacritic. It's got to get something.
What did you say? Sorry.
Dave the Diver is my fifth one, and then for the last one, I'm
Feeling
gonna
good, guys.
I'll choose Baldur's Gate 3. I think that'll be on there. And then yeah, the reason I don't put Diablo is because 2 reasons. One, I think that the people who typically vote are not big fans of those types of games, ARPGs. And I think that they have a great out for not nominating it, which is that they will nominate it for best ongoing game and it'll win that. That's my
It just started though. I mean, come on. I mean, they gotta...
yeah, but it's going to be 2 seasons in by the time the awards happen.
Eh.
Yeah, I bet you it wins best ongoing game because that's their out, right? Oh well, we got to acknowledge Diablo, even though none of us like that. All right, well let's throw it in best ongoing game, and
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thinking.
Do you think it's possible, just possible, that Super Mario Wonder is going to be enough of a good enough 2D Mario game for them to have a Mario and a Zelda in this list?
No.
They love. I mean, people love Nintendo. It's hard to
Man,
say.
if they couldn't swing Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey at the same time, I don't think so.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Weren't those both nominated?
I don't
I
believe
think they were. I think they were, and then Breath of the Wild won, and I was on Team Odyssey on that one. I thought Odyssey
Was Odyssey? I don't think Odyssey got nominated, but I could be
I think
wrong.
it
It
did.
was years ago.
Yeah, I remember them both being on the stage, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm struggling, guys.
It's tough, right?
Yeah, you have some
I
interesting
almost
picks.
picked Hi-Fi Rush because I feel like that one would just like people would be like, it's got to be on there, you know, for
I just
whatever
don't-
reason.
I just don't
think it's
see
big
it being
enough.
there, man.
The massive
yeah.
cultural impact of Hi-Fi Rush? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm just saying. A lot of people are going to say that. They're going to be like, oh, why isn't Hi-Fi Rush on there? I'm going to be like, I don't know. No idea. I didn't even play the damn thing, so I have no idea.
All right. I'm going Tears of the Kingdom is an obvious one. All 4 of us will have that. I'm also going Starfield, which all 4 of us have. I'm also going Spider-Man
Really?
2, which Travis doesn't have.
No, I don't, because I think you guys are underestimating how much sequels are unexciting when they don't change a lot. And I think while Spider-Man 1
You mean like
was-
God of War?
Star Wars Jedi Survivor?
I agree with you. I'm
but
not hyped about Spider-Man 2.
Jedi Survivor, yeah, I don't know. I think Jedi Survivor is a pretty big leap. And I what I've seen of Spider-Man 2, it looks like it's the same game, pretty much.
Okay.
Good.
So
I mean that's great,
the
but
King-
I don't think it gets Game of the Year nomination. But yeah.
okay. Spider-Man 2, I'm going Resident Evil 4.
That's
What?
that's a good one because there's always a Resident Evil in there.
Resident Evil
feel
Remake 2 was nominated.
Yeah.
Oh God, was it? But I think that was
Resident
a
Evil
weak year,
4.
though, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I am going Diablo 4. And then I need a 6th, and I don't know what to do with my 6th. I'm looking at the list right now. Bear with me. The safe bet's probably Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Really? I don't think so.
Yep. Going with my instinct. Final Fantasy.
Do we know there's going to be 6? Do they have like a hard limit at 6? Could there just be 10 Game of the Year nominations?
No, it's not the Oscars.
Yeah.
Well, he announces it like a little bit before the Criterion stuff, so I would assume if he's going to change the 6, that he'll say that, but we'll see.
Well, because I think the nominees come out of a panel, right, of people who nominate,
They
and
do.
then people vote, right, on top of that. That's like a percentage of the weighting.
Yep.
So I imagine the nominees come out of like whichever games meet a certain threshold of votes. So if those differ, actually, damn it, I just realized I know at least 2 people who are going to be on that panel who are going to vote for Diablo. Oh no, I probably should have included that on my list. Whatever, I'm going to stick to my guns.
The list is locked.
Yep.
All right. So let me read through this just so we have it right. Okay, so I'm going Tears of the Kingdom, Starfield, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16. Dan, you're going Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, Spider-Man 2, Diablo 4, Baldur's Gate 3. We have 5 of the same games, but you went Baldur's Gate 3, I went Resident Evil 4.
You might.
Hoeg,
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, Diablo 4, Starfield, Spider-Man 2, Baldur's Gate 3, and then Sea of Stars as your indie darling. And Travis, Tears of the Kingdom, Star Wars, Starfield, Street Fighter 6, Dave the Diver, and Baldur's Gate 3. Okay.
I'm locking
right.
my list.
Locked.
I think it's good. I think you guys not putting Street Fighter 6 is a big mistake. I think that's a shoo-in.
It's funny. I think
Yeah.
that's your biggest weakness.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. Street Fighter is a big IP, man.
Dude, it's a big IP, and that game is amazing.
I
Yeah,
don't think
and
Street
it's a
Fighter
92
is likely
meta.
to beat Mortal Kombat 1.
I think Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be great, but I don't know if it'll hit the same marks as a Street
You know, the
Fighter.
other one I was thinking, because keep in mind, Keeley, not that he picks these, right, as we said, but it is the
His
Keeley's,
influence.
is Alan Wake 2.
Oh, I would love Alan Wake 2 to be there.
I don't think it's going to be, but I would love it if it were. Yeah. I'd be really surprised. I feel like the only time those games from Remedy get attention is when there aren't other huge games coming out. You know what I mean? Like
Sam Lake is, him and Keeley are really tight. It comes out like that week that they're deciding on games. And it's highly, highly anticipated because people have wanted it for 10 plus years.
But the fact that it comes out that week they're deciding means a lot of the people voting won't have played it yet.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, no, my extras list is Final Fantasy 16 and Alan Wake 2, but
Okay.
My extras list is Diablo 4 and
I think, dude, Diablo has made waves like crazy, and it's a 91 meta. It has to be on there.
But did it make waves in the people that vote? I'm playing Moneyball here. I'm trying
I think Diablo 4 has the
Moneyball.
advantage. Dan says it. You say it could be used as a live service game.
Ongoing.
But I think it has the advantage of being in the news from now until then, because they do those video shows. We're going to talk about the season of The Malignant, I think, right now.
Yep.
And that's the advantage of a live service game, is you get to be talked about forever.
Yep.
Fair. But I think a lot of people who are voters, don't really care too much for ARPGs, and also don't care or know anything about live service games. That's my thinking on it. As I'm trying to guess what the judges are going to vote, I'm not basing it off of what I think should win.
It's funny. One of my criteria is polish, and Diablo 4 is inordinately polished.
Yeah.
It is. It is polished.
Yeah, and when it can stand above, in that regard anyway, in the polish above all these other games in this year that we've had so far, and people are still looking at it and going, "Wow, this game is really well done," and it actually came out in a really good state. That's a huge, huge win for them. I think it was awesome.
I agree. Yep. I gave it a 9, guys. I reviewed it. I'm trying to play the system here.
I honestly think Baldur's Gate 3 is my biggest guess, because I don't think Larian's been nominated for anything before.
No.
Well, and I think it's going to be an absolutely incredible game. I have full confidence Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be mind-blowing, but it feels like it's more of a niche, mind-blowing game.
It would be.
The reason it's on my list is because I think...
Damn, I froze again. Sorry.
You did freeze. But you got smolder.
You look disappointed in us.
You look good. The reason I think Baldur's Gate is on my list, even though it is a bit of a dark horse, is because I think judges skew toward RPGs, especially ones with social links. I think those always do really well.
But do you see Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 both being in the 6?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they have. I think judges have unlimited appetite for RPGs. Truly.
Ambition is often rewarded.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a Bitcast without Frozen Age. You're not kidding, piece of John.
True that.
Oh, got it.
What was I going to say? Someone asked a question I wanted to ask. I think it was Josh in the chat. Said, Metroid Prime Remastered. I realize it's an old game. It's remastered, et cetera, et cetera. We've heard that before, but it is a 94 meta. It was very highly regarded. Do you think a game like that should be have the potential to be nominated?
No, but they still do. But I would never. I don't think it qualifies to me. To me, part of Game of the Year is it's a game that defined that year in terms of like innovation and moving the industry forward. And I don't think remakes do that.
Fair enough. Which is we always have trouble, and I know a lot of people talk about this. We always have trouble drawing that line, right? Because Resident Evil 4 remake, I do think will be considered, just like Resident Evil 2 remake was considered.
Oh yeah, it's a different game.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah,
but Metroid Prime is a remaster. It's just Metroid Prime.
Yeah, it's defining the difference between remaster remake, I guess. But yeah,
I still even think most remakes probably don't belong on the list, but that's me. I realize that Resident Evil 4 has a good chance of ending up on the list. For me, I would scoff at that.
Scoff at it. All right, we've got our list. It's saved. It's locked in. We will revisit this in first week of December is usually his show. So what we'll do is we'll see what happens. We'll figure out if there is a single loser. The good news is none of us have the same 6 games, so I think we should be safe, right? I mean, we may all get like
someone will lose unless they do 10 nominations, and then we could all win. It would be hilarious.
So whoever loses, we'll do it'll be perfect time around the holidays to do kind of this make one of us play a game we don't want to play.
I just want to put this out there. If I lose, that is cruel because I already have to play bad games all the time.
But you get paid to play those. You get paid.
Yeah, I know. And then you guys are on top
game.
of that make me do pro bono terrible game work. Like this is so bad. I would just be. I hope you guys choose a game that I didn't get around to. Like I still haven't beaten Final Fantasy 16. You're like, Travis, you know what? Go beat that game. I'll be like,
I don't think you're gonna let 16 sit until the end of the year.
Yeah, and that's not gonna happen. By the way, that's not the premise of this game.
Tears of the Kingdom. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I wanted to finish that one. Thank you.
We'll make you play that really bad Last of Us knockoff that came out this week. Did you guys see that? It's like it's a direct knockoff of Last of Us 1.
How do you knock off Last of Us? What is that?
Is it called The Last of We?
It's literally like that premise with the character designs and everything. It just looks really cheap. It's comical looking. I forget the name of it.
What?
Sorry.
How have I not heard about this?
Yeah.
This sounds like Nightmare Fuel. Why haven't I reviewed it yet? I'm very surprised.
Jam Pack Sam, hey, what's up, Sam? He said The Last Hope. I don't know if that's what it's called or not.
Dead Zone Survival.
The Last Hope.
Yeah.
That is a terrible name for a game.
Anyway, all right, we're locked in. We're good on that. Thanks for everyone kind of participating in that conversation. We did get some super chats. Let's go ahead and catch up on these. So we got the one from Alex. We got Dan, you ready here? We've got Mr. Don in the house. Dan, hello.
All right. Are we good? Hello?
Yeah, go.
Am I here?
Go. We can hear you.
I don't know what's going on. All right. Don Leinart with a $10 super chat. I can't understand. I'm talking. I don't know what's going on here. I might have to, I don't know. All right. Hello.
We can hear you.
All right. Hello. All. I'm loving Final Fantasy 16. I don't know. I had like some stuttering going on. I don't know what was going on. I think what happened was I pulled up the Last of Us dollar store knockoff from Kotaku here, and it just completely screwed up my whole thing. Oh man, but it looks pretty bad. Anyway, hello all. Thanks, Don. I'm loving Final Fantasy 16 so far. Massively impressed, but I have to say the icon fights are kind of boring gameplay. Agree or disagree? I agree, but they're cool. I've got 5 skill trees for progress info. Tough. Where was I at? I lost it. Was it that was BW?
Tough between it and a hog leg.
Hogwarts Legacy.
So between Hogwarts Legacy.
Hog leg.
Hog leg.
They should just give hog leg.
I thought you were making some kind of reference to Hogue, and I'm like, what is this hog leg?
By the way,
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, it's throwing me off.
If you were just polling like random people about Game of the Year, Hogwarts Legacy would for sure be on the list because, fun fact, Hogwarts Legacy has the highest traffic of any review that IGN's done this year, and it's actually not even close. Like I think the next closest is like Tears of the Kingdom or Diablo 4, and they're like 20 million or 30 million views or whatever between all the platforms. Hogwarts Legacy is 325 million. It's absurd. It is like crazy because Harry Potter draws in a whole audience of non-gamers that is a lot bigger than the community of just gamers. It's like a lot of people.
And the game's great. I mean, I think if it didn't have any extra baggage, it would be nominated for sure.
I think it would as well.
And it was the best-selling game of the year. I don't know where Diablo is now in comparison.
It's not even close. Yeah,
Hogwarts was the best-selling game.
Yeah, Hogwarts would still be the best-selling game. I'm almost sure of it because it's those people, those losers that would hang outside the bookstore for the release day. It's outside of the borders. It's that crowd. They're playing Hogwarts Legacy right now. They're loving it.
Oh my God, Don! Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it.
To answer your question, I already mentioned it, but I agree. They're not mechanically interesting.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier as well. Yep.
Yeah. They're a
Gecko Gamer in the house.
It's fun to watch. Gecko Gamer, this is the COVID catch-up here, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, probably. It is.
Yes,
100%.
Yep. Yeah, that's why it's so ridiculous. So enjoy it while it lasts. Gecko, thank you. Always good to see you. And Siddharth is back again.
Siddharth with the 100 rupees. That's not a curious question. What's the point of early access for Starfield?
To make extra money.
Yes, they love that money.
They got an issue with Game Pass and releasing everything
exactly.
So they give you an extra version that they can say is not released yet, so they can still say they released day one when they don't on Game Pass.
I don't think that is a Game Pass specific problem, but it is certainly. I actually have a problem with the language of early access because it's actually not early access. That is a marketing lie. It is late access for the people who don't pay extra money. It is not early access. It is regular access, and then everybody who pays less gets late access. They just rebranded it to make it sound like it was a good thing. But yeah, I think that's an industry problem beyond Game Pass, but it certainly benefits Microsoft in this case when most people are not going to buy their game to say, hey, or you could pay us a lot of money and then get it a little bit early.
Are they doing the Forza Horizon 5 thing where you can pay like 20 or 30 bucks?
$35.
Yeah, kiss my ass. That's crazy.
You can wait 3 days and play it for free, Or
well, I think
no
the
$35.
To be fair, I think the $35 comes with the expansion, the first expansion for the game, as well as a steelbook if you want it.
Yep.
So
correct.
No.
Yeah.
I have not looked at what the Starfield purchasing options are.
No, I have not either.
Well,
that's literally it. It's Game Pass. You can pay the $35 for this with the expansion and the steelbook, or you can buy the Constellation Edition, the collector thing, for $250.
Or you can buy the game for $60 after it's out, but probably very few people will do that. It'll be on Game Pass by then.
There you go. So Siddharth, thank you very much.
You just have to work in the industry for years. The other purchase option.
All right. Appreciate you guys. And just a couple news things to call out here. So Diablo, the team at Blizzard did a live stream on Thursday talking about the first season for Diablo 4 official season, which launches. It's called Season of the Malignant. Launches on July 20th. There are some interesting details around this season. We won't get into all of them, but basically what they said is the update itself launches 2 days earlier on the 18th. So you can go in and play with the new content, essentially the new items that are added and the fixes and kind of updates they're doing to the game. But then the actual season play and the battle pass that goes along with that begin on the 20th. And if you're not familiar with Diablo, because this seemed to be new to a lot of people, Diablo works where you have seasonal characters and seasonal content. So there's unique things you can unlock by playing in the season. But when you play in a season, you create a character for that season. So you will create a character that plays in the season, and then once the season ends, it just moves over to the core game. I forget, they have a name for it. I forget what they call it.
Eternal Realm.
Eternal Realm. Yes.
Oh, love
popped
you.
In my head right when I said that. Now what they clarified was the battle pass, right? The paid battle pass is all cosmetics, right? It's all transmog stuff. So it's nothing you get from that that's going to impact your power. And also, if you don't want to play any of that content in the season, you can still play your Eternal Realm characters you have today, and it'll still get the new legendaries and uniques they're adding, the bug fixes, all the other update, that's part on the 18th. So we have it broken down on the site. If you need the details, you can check the site. I have that written up for you. But I'm excited about this. Obviously, I keep standing Diablo, but it'll be nice. I love the seasonal content. I'll take extra cosmetics, and I do like the malignant stuff they're doing with some more unique enemies and new ways to kind of craft your build as well, which is pretty
new
cool.
enemies, new resources, new abilities. That's a cool thing for a season. So I mean, I think they're going bigger than they did in Diablo 3, which I think is neat. Now I still have to beat the campaign to even get access to it, so I'm still behind. But
wow, you haven't beaten the jeez.
Well, Final Fantasy 16 got in the middle there.
Right.
Fair. Yeah, that's another thing. So, like I said, there's kind of unique details in how they're doing this, depending on your character. So if you're new to this, you don't really know how Diablo works, kind of with their seasonal stuff. Like, check out the sites. Check out
the idea, as I understand it, is you create a new character because in that season they add a bunch of stuff that basically breaks the game, but it breaks it in a fun way. So you can experiment and have overpowered stuff, and then some of that stuff gets added to the Eternal Realm, like they add unique items and stuff like that. But there's unique powers that kind of like break the game and let you just have like a fun adventure, and then when the season's over they delete that character.
Correct.
And then some stuff
they don't
move the
delete your
character over without the extras.
Correct. That
to the Eternal Realm.
Yes,
correct.
Your season character survives in the Eternal Realm.
Yeah, you don't lose your character. No,
you don't lose your character, but you lose all the powers that they had.
Yeah,
you
whatever
lose the malignant hearts
is,
that they're adding for this season.
Great. Yes. Well, yeah. Okay. So you lose that stuff, but you gain I know I played through an entire season of Diablo 3 to get like a teddy bear with blood all over him.
They'll have the journey arcs again, journey of the season to get. I think they're giving new titles.
Yeah, there's other little things. And by the way, again, they mentioned that all the seasonal content you can engage with for free. The battle pass is just additional cosmetics.
And the journey as well. Seasonal journey they offer.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's a new menu that is added to it. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, check that out if you've been enjoying Diablo, big game right now. It is cool. I like, as Hoeg said, I like the way they're approaching seasons here. As Travis called out previously, Blizzard seems to be doing a good job of being prepared for the live service journey. They have 3 teams working. So this is season 1. They're already working on season 2. And
season 2 is almost done.
Yeah, they have been for some time. So they seem well prepared to carry this into the future.
Their teams are called Odd and Even, by the way, in case you were wondering. They didn't name them. Some this is a funny quirk of live service games. Is some teams name their seasonal teams.
Shirts and skins.
Yeah, well, Bungie has Alpha and Omega because they're very full of themselves.
I actually like Odd and Even because it's very easy to know who's working on what season.
It is, but also, can you imagine the lack of team identity between the Odd and Even team? Because at Bungie, those teams have identities, like they have like personalities on them, and they're kind of competitive, and the seasons have a very different feel because you're like, oh, it came from the Alpha team or the Omega team, it's just I wouldn't get inspired by odds and evens, and I feel like there's a pretty good like opportunity to do like Heaven and Hell or something cool like that, and they just skipped all opportunity there. So
Travis prefers Greek letters.
I would have preferred just having fun with it. That's my
I was gonna say this is a true story. So in the app development in my career work, we have a bunch of different teams that work on sprints and everything, right? All of our teams are named after 80s things. So there's a Goonies team, there's a Transformers team, there's a Ghostbusters team. It's all this goofy stuff they kind of theme with.
Team Lilith and Team Inarius.
Exactly. That would have been great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
If they have 3 teams, they could do each of the primevals. I think that'd be cool. I also, Ains, I worked on a team where all the engineering sprint groups were named after business cliches. So one of the teams was like canary in a coal mine, and just like things that people say like a lot
in their core competencies.
Yeah, exactly. Like just business cliche sayings that would come up a lot. That was all, which I thought was very funny.
Sidar, someone mentions a cow level. So they're teasing it. No one has found it yet. There is, as you can imagine, there's a big community searching for it. The last I heard last week was that people on Reddit, like a group trying to find it, found a seller that does not show up on the map. like a hidden seller.
Mhm.
But Diablo put out like a meme this week with a bunch of dark cows saying, "We heard you're looking for us." So we'll see. Who knows if they're going to add it in this update, if it's already there and hasn't been found, who knows? But yeah, it's always fun trying to figure
I
that
love
out.
secrets.
Yeah, I keep waiting
Yeah,
for a
awesome.
color with Zerg in it or something, you know.
They did a really good job. Yeah. And I love that, you know, it's only going to get bigger and better as time goes on. So
I think it's something worth being exciting about.
yeah. Baldur's Gate 3, we kind of already talked about this, but it did get moved up to August 3rd on PC, which is kind of incredible. That means it's only 3 weeks away, which is amazing. But on PC, it is September 6th on PS5 because PS5 doesn't have Starfield, so I don't think they really cared about moving away from it on that platform.
But
they
sympathy.
yeah.
Sympathy
Larry was
game.
like,
That's
"We'll leave it in
amazing.
September because you know
Yeah.
they're not worried about Starfield."
For
but-
that, for
Baldur's
that
Gate 3
fan,
and Starfield, man, that is some time.
that is some
Yes.
time. Jeez.
The crazy thing, which Travis got a good laugh out about the Tolkien reference, but the team at Larian came out and kind of talked about some of the content in the game, and it sounds pretty absurd in terms of, you know, what they've developed over the past few years. So
Yeah, I'm not
really
even sure with
excited
those
about it.
numbers it's attractive. 174 hours of cinematics. Is that? It's like, yeah, you get good bang for your buck, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
I think what they did too is so there's different cinematics depending on your decisions, obviously,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
they
it's
probably
definitely
just
pulled
added all
from-
the sum of all the parts and said, "Here's these big numbers to look at."
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, I think that's exactly what they did.
And
Right?
I think
It's
RPG
Borderlands
fans.
saying there's trillions of guns or whatever.
Exactly.
True.
Yes.
I think RPG fans do like that, Hogue. I get that you
I did.
are at a point in your life, but
did.
like there's a lot of people who are 174 hours in story and they go like, "Oh yeah, like why not make it an even 200? Let's come on. I've got needs. I've got
Which is
needs,
funny
Larry."
because, like Final Fantasy 16 has like 22 hours of cinematics or something like that, and you can still see in the reviews they're like, "There's too many cinematics," and I don't agree, but you get that feeling when you're watching so many things.
But it is going to be a huge game. By the way, a super chat popped up. I'm sorry. When everything crashed, like I lost Hogue stream live here, which I got to pull back up. But I do have a super chat from Debbie W asking about Diablo. So before we continue on, I want to get this one answered.
Yeah, Debbie with the $10. Thank you very much. Does the Kanai's cube replacement function the same as it does in Diablo 3? If you add powers to it with a seasonal character, they transfer over at the end of the season.
So no, there's not a direct equivalent to Kanai's cube in D4 currently. And I think we covered the second question, which is if you add powers with a seasonal character, do they transfer over at end of the season? No. So the power that they're adding in the season for Diablo 4,
Aged hearts.
is this hearts thing, which basically function as gems, a replacement for gems. They sock it into your equipment, but they add new, basically like legendary affixes, if you will. So you can, as Travis rightly said, their theme with it is to break the game and allow players to just become ridiculously overpowered and have fun with it, which is cool. But once the season ends, the hearts will go away. What they did say is, as they do these seasons,
that sounds like an 80s love song. When the season ends, the hearts
You
will go
lost your
away.
they did say that there is a balance they're trying to walk where they start to add things that players really have fun with, right? In the seasons, that they're going to create some equivalent of that for the main game long term for the Eternal Realm.
Yeah, it's the Path of the Exile framework. It's like
pretty much.
You do weird stuff during the season, and then sometimes bullying gets added.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope that makes sense. It was kind of, they talked through it pretty extensively on the live stream if you missed it. But you know, they're trying to make it as clear as possible, even though it's kind of confusing at times. So, all right. Thank you for that, Debbie. Appreciate it. I hope we answered your question. All right. On Baldur's Gate 3, there was something else I was going to say about it. Damn it.
Bestiality.
I don't think that's it.
Are you for or against it?
But I think that, you know, for kind of, when you think about kind of big, expansive, hardcore kind of Western RPGs, this is looking like one of the best ones in a long time. So I'm pretty pumped. I've totally forgot because early access came out so long ago for this game. I bought it nearly like 2 years ago that I already own it. So I'm excited to jump into this for sure.
Is this one of the games that was paid to not be on Xbox? Is that one of the?
No, that's what I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Hmm.
No, it is coming to Xbox.
Okay.
Larian said there is no exclusivity deal. They clarified that a little while ago. Basically, what they said is they were just finalizing some of the optimization within their engine to make it run properly on Series X and S together. So it will be coming to Xbox in the near term. They're already working on it. They just don't have a release date currently.
So probably next year.
I heard.
Also,
Yeah, well,
I
I think they said they're targeting by the end of the year, but they haven't kind of confirmed that.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the past companies have said there's no exclusivity deal, meaning, and they've like kind of danced around the fact that there were timed exclusivity deals, you know? So there's like a 6-month wait. I know that
they have in the past. That doesn't apply here.
You think so?
No, they were super clear about it. I don't have it in front of me, but
no, they did. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I saw it too.
They came out and talked about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they were having just issues with the X and S. You know, getting it.
It's two
separate
platforms. Yeah.
Well, yes, yeah. You have the forced parity on Microsoft's side, so they have to run on both. And I think they were just having a few little issues with that, and they're going to have it out probably by the end of the year, I think is what they said.
That's what they said is they're targeting. Yeah. So hopefully not too long for Xbox players. But I mean, like we said, you've got Starfield on the Xbox side in September. So play that for months and then you'll have Baldur's Gate 3.
I'll be playing on PC regardless. I think that's top-down RPGs. Come on. PC.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they've got it down to make them console games after the Divinity series. So I don't think anybody should be worried about playing it on consoles.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, the Divinity games were kind of irritating on console.
No.
Really? Come on.
I love it.
Meanwhile, there's many who plays on PC with a controller.
See, I have no
Chaos.
PC to run it, so
chaos.
I will be playing. I see now the
Certainly I don't blame anybody for playing it on PC. I just
no.
I beat both on console, so I could do couch co-op. That's something you can't get on PC. But cannot tell you, man, that moving that cursor around, how many times your character ends up standing in acid or something for 14 rounds, and you're like, God damn it, this controller, you know, this is not the right input for that game, I think. But
see, I saw it come out. I'll get it for the console. I'll get it for PlayStation, but now I'm kind of teetering on which one to play first. Like, do I play Starfield or Baldur's Gate?
You're going to play Starfield first because it comes out first.
It comes out at the same time.
Well, I mean, it's
like
it's same time from here in July.
I think he's saying
Starfield comes out
PS5
first.
PS5, like no, yeah.
He's talking about PS5 version of
versus
Baldur's Gate
Starfield,
3, which comes out the same day as Starfield.
Right. Yeah.
Makes
same
sense.
day. The PS5 version of.
I mean, if you're
Baldur's
not
Gate 3,
playing Starfield on the day it comes out, you're gonna feel like you're living on a different planet. Because people are already going to have played and you're gonna have all the video clips for nice. You're already going to see all the clips and highlights and impressions from Baldur's Gate
all that stuff
in August. I mean, but you're going to see it anyway. It's the internet. You know, you can't.
I think you overestimate.
Your kids are going to talk to you about it. They're going to be like, Dan, you haven't played this game.
I ain't worried about it.
I'm
not worried about it.
So what I will say about Baldur's Gate, if you haven't played it, and by the way, Siddharth asks, is Baldur's Gate much different from Divinity? So I would say, kind of, similar mechanics in that sense. But I think, like, if you're not familiar with Baldur's Gate 3 and why people are excited for it, this is a very kind of in-depth Western RPG. A lot of conversations, a lot of item management, depth of character creation and relationship building. So if those are your things, definitely look into this game. If you're someone who doesn't like to if you're more of a Final Fantasy 16 player versus a inventory relationship management player, then you probably won't enjoy Baldur's Gate 3.
If you liked Wasteland 3 and you want it on steroids, then this is probably what you want.
I think Larian's much better writers than
100%. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's just going to be like that, but way, way better. You know, and I enjoyed Wasteland 3, to be honest with you. But
Wasteland 3 is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's great. So,
super underrated game.
I agree.
My camera froze again. Good God.
This time you do not have smolder. You look gross.
It looks like he's chipmunking something. Yep.
Appreciate you.
Oh man.
Oh my god, I don't know what is going on today. Some shows
Oh, got
it's
him.
not a problem. Other shows like this, they've freeze multiple times. Who knows?
It's crazy.
Anyway, so that's Baldur's Gate 3. So check that out if you're interested. We do have a preview up of Baldur's Gate 3 from a little while ago where I talk about kind of the story, the main characters and stuff. So you can check that out if you want to.
I've seen nothing of Baldur's Gate 3, by the way. Every time they show it, I'm like, oh, that's a million years away. So I'm excited to go in completely blind. The only thing I've seen is that 10-second clip of the bear. That's really all I've seen. So
I
literally
totally
it.
forgot. I streamed an episode of Baldur's Gate 3 like a year and a half ago. I totally forgot I did it.
Nice.
So yeah, it's very cool, at least early on. And they said that the early access, even with all the stuff they added over the past 2 years, the early access act in the game is less than 25% of the whole game. So it is going to be a huge game. I expect people to spend hundreds of hours on it. So just if you are jumping into it, be prepared. Say it again.
I said back to the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, so
Baldur's Gate 3 is a game in a rich legacy of PC games. For those of you that are not as seasoned, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were special.
They were fantastic games. I remember playing Baldur's Gate 2, I believe, on the original Xbox, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I played on my PC.
I played on PC as well, but I remember it on Xbox.
Playa, am I getting the premium upgrade for Starfield? You know me, man. I'm getting the Constellation Edition, and I'm getting the collector's robot statue. Oh, I ordered the robot statue.
The knee? Oh,
everything.
Gross. God.
Yeah, I've got the controller sitting right here. It's
you know what? I hope your steel book is twice as empty.
Look at this guy.
Because the steel book doesn't come with a physical disc, right?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Dude, this controller is stunning. Come on, man. It's amazing.
Do you take it drinking with you, though? I saw somebody took it drinking with them on Twitter.
Drinking?
Yeah. I saw somebody took it drinking.
Like
at a bar. They took a picture of like their controller at a sports bar with like a glass of whiskey or something. They're like, hey, look at this.
I'm weird. I'm not
waiting
that weird.
for Starfield.
Yeah.
It was super weird.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Yeah. God, how's it feel being a paid shill, Lance?
I mean, as we heard, Xbox pays people very well to support them. So
nice.
Yeah, man, I'm doing well.
I mean, they would have to. They would have to pay. Are you on their legal team? I didn't see you in court, but I don't know.
No, actually, so if you didn't see, I forget what the robot's called now. In Starfield, your helper guy,
Mr. Beep Boop. What's his name?
I wish it was called that.
Bethesda's doing a mini statue of him that they released on the Bethesda site. They're only making 800 of them. I literally ordered it while I was in the theater watching the direct when it went live. It's sold out that night. It's already sold. It's been sold out since that day.
Good.
So
nobody else should have to buy it. Just sell them out. I don't want to hear about it anymore.
I'm telling you, man, people love those things. Like me. Vasco, thank you guys. I can't believe I forgot his name. All right. Last piece I thought
spent $800.
I spent no, not $800. It's they made $800.
Oh. How much was it? $100?
160 maybe, 170, something like that.
God, you simp.
Constellation Edition was 250. Controller was 80. You know, it adds up. I bought 2 controllers, by the way. Annapurna is developing their first in-house game. So I think we all know that Annapurna, indie publisher, do a lot of kind of really, really cool games. But they've built a small studio and they're developing their first in-house game, I guess is the best way to say it. And it's based on Blade Runner. So they're making a game called Blade Runner 2033, which will take place between the original movie and 2049. And all they've said so far, this is the description. It's very kind of, details still to come. But it's called Labyrinth. Takes place in a dystopian Los Angeles like its cinematic predecessors, and the game's events occur after the blackout hits. So there is like a teaser trailer for it. It's Blade Runner. It's Annapurna. I'm excited about it. I think.
What's up with Cyberpunk games and movies really enjoying telling you what year they take place in their titles?
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like Cyberpunk 2077. There was the Blade Runner. What was it? 2040 something.
2049, I think. Right?
2033. They just love that. The original Blade Runner, if I'm not mistaken, takes place in 2012.
It's like close to where we are. Right?
2010? No,
Blade Runner Day. Yeah, we
Blade
passed
Runner.
Blade Runner.
It's a long time ago. I was in college when Blade Runner Day happened because I turned to my friend. I was like, "Dude, we're living in Blade Runner," and he was like, "No, we're not. This is way worse." I was like, "Yeah, it's true. We don't have flying cars or anything." So
It is November 1st, 2019, supposedly.
yeah.
That's what Google says anyway. Blade Runner.
Wait, what?
It
No.
says
right.
Blade Runner's story famously happens in November of 2019. That's what it says.
Man, they were way off.
Back to the Future is October 2015.
What am I thinking of that was in 20?
Well, the Cubs won, didn't they? That was
2012.
the year the Cubs won.
Cubs won. Yeah.
So it is an alternate reality.
No.
No, they won. I think didn't that come true? They actually won
Yeah,
that
it's
year.
good at Parks
Won,
and
they
Rec.
did.
Parks and Rec
Yeah.
did the same thing. They also
Yeah, it says here's another. It says Blade Runner occurs between November 19th and 22nd in 2019.
I must be thinking of some other sci-fi
Oh.
thing, but yeah, they love telling
Anyway.
you what year they took place.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this game. I'm a big fan of Blade Runner, not the movie, not the first movie. Everybody loves that movie with Harrison Ford. I think it's bad, but
you slander that
Blade Runner
man.
first movie
He's the
is
greatest
good.
man alive.
But the Blade
Harrison
Runner
Ford-
2049 is great.
I think 2049 is
was
awesome,
surprisingly good. Yeah.
amazing. But I'm a huge fan of
Jared Leto.
of our boy Dick. Okay, I'm a total dickhead. That's what I love Philip K.
I
Dick.
don't see
He's
what
the
that's
guy
got
who
to do with the movie.
Philip K. Dick. He's one of my favorite authors of all time, and I really like the original book he wrote that became Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was then turned into the Blade Runner movie, and the movie could not be farther from the book. And so for me, I'm just like, yo, this is like kind of a B movie based off of one of my favorite novels ever.
Travis just hates Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Look,
By
I
the
get why nerds like it because it's formatted like a video game, like it has like boss fights and stuff. Like I get why nerds like it, but the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is a profoundly powerful piece of science fiction, and Blade Runner is kind of like just cheap, television.
I don't think Blade Runner is a great movie, but I do think it's got some of the best production design in history. I think
great.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, it is. That's true. And it also it does get the setting right of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Like Philip K. Dick apparently saw the movie and was like, how did you pull that out of my head? Was his reaction. So I think the setting and production values are great, and Harrison Ford's awesome, and blah blah blah. But I just don't like that movie.
By the way, the reason I'm laughing so hard is when you first said "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep." Go back and look at Dan's face because you look so confused.
I have no idea what he's talking
perfect.
about. No idea.
I mean, Philip K. Dick is a fantastic author who has way too long names for everything he's ever written.
Yeah.
Total Recall was based off of a short story called "We Can Remember It For You Wholesale," written by Philip K. Dick. And so, as you can tell, a lot of his pieces, they've probably made like 20 pieces of TV or movie based off of Philip K. Dick stuff, and they always rename it because he is super bad at naming his stuff. I think it's Scanner Darkly. That is the original name of that one. So that that's the only one.
If
that
there's a
they've done.
sci-fi movie you like that
the
deals
author of
with
that.
memory and thoughts and existential questions, often
or
Philip
God.
K. Dick.
Yeah. Philip K. Dick.
Sard says Travis sees Blade Runner like my boyfriend sees Final Fantasy 15. How did my favorite thing become this?
Yeah, I do. If you read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, like you will be blown away, and then you'll look at Blade Runner and be like, "Yeah, that's worse." Like
as I said about Foundation. Foundation is a very different kind of story than the Apple show.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys assume I read, so that's your first mistake.
You probably should read a little. Yeah, maybe
I haven't read since I was in college, so that's good. I'm good.
I tend to prefer Harlan Ellison to Philip Dick.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone said Minority Report as well.
I would put Philip K. Dick as my favorite science fiction author, and then second would be I'm forgetting the name. Left Hand of Darkness. Feminist sci-fi author. Why am I forgetting the name? I'll remember it.
I think you're making it up as you go.
Yeah, I really think
be
it
like
is.
Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
Roger Zelazny. That's the only one I know.
And maybe Robert Heinlein.
Timothy Zahn.
Timothy Zahn is a good author.
Yeah.
I know. That's why it says it. That's probably the last books I read. It was like
Ursula Le Guin. Oh, yeah. Thank you, whoever
Ursula
wrote
Le
that.
Guin.
I was gonna remember it.
Feminist sci-fi for Ursula Le Guin.
Yes, she's amazing. Yeah,
I think I read all of Earthsea back in the day.
Yeah, it's good. You guys should read. I read this morning. I'm currently
read.
I'm reading the.
I like Thomas Zane as a choice, the fictional author from Alan Wake.
Yes, nice job, shoot.
Hey, his works include Alan Wake and his entire life, apparently, maybe,
or the reverse.
Yeah,
yeah,
or the reverse. Yeah, that's true. That is true. What do you think it is? Do you guys? Can we get deep into Alan Wake lore right now?
At some point, we should do a whole show where we just analyze the blackboard from Quantum Break. Talks about
Quantum
Alan
Break.
Wake.
Yeah, because I think Alan Wake is a real person, but I think everything you play as in Alan Wake 1 is not the real Alan Wake. I think it's Mr. Scratch, as he's sometimes referred to. Like he's a piece of scratch paper written by the real Alan Wake who's in the lake the whole time.
Am I crazy? He's not referred to as Mr. Scratch. He's referred to as Mr.
That's true. Yeah, but he's Mr. Scratch on paper. And then when you say it, your voice just scratches out, apparently.
So it sounds like we should play Alan Wake 2 later this year and then have an Alan Wake cast where we discuss
I would love that.
I'm deep in
Alan Wake lore.
Some of the best writing in video gaming. And if Alan Wake 2 is remotely as good, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And none of us put it on our Game of the Year list.
Of course we didn't. It's not. It just isn't. I'm sorry. It comes out too late in the game.
The stakes are too high.
Oh,
I would love for Alan Wake 2 to be nominated. First of all, because I would love for it to be that kind of experience, that it's worthy of nomination.
Right.
But we also didn't put Armored Core 6. That's kind of crazy. You didn't put
almost put that as my
game on your listings.
I know. I almost put it instead of Final Fantasy 16, but I just think Final Fantasy 16 is too big of a name.
I have a prediction that all of our lists are going to be like wildly inaccurate because I think there's a really big recency bias. The closer you release to the Game Awards, the more likely are to get nominated. And so I think Starfield will be there, but I think a lot of the stuff we mentioned from the first half of the year is going to be completely forgotten about. That's my theory. It's going to be like a lot of games that came out at the end of the year.
not with stuff like Final Fantasy and Zelda.
Well, I think Alan Wake and Diablo
Zelda
are great sons.
Yeah.
We'll see. So yeah, we can do that. We'll have a Alan Wake cast later this year at some time once we get through Alan Wake 2, which who knows with all these games when that'll be, but we'll figure it out. The only other thing I was going to mention this week, which people were waiting on because we talked about it a little last week, but as I understand anyway, I haven't been paying close attention, but nothing really came of the whole FTC decision this week, right?
She didn't make her decision yet, but
that we know of.
Well, I mean, if it's under seal, it's under seal, but either way, it's not something we can publicly talk about yet.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll see whenever that decision does come out.
Kept Googling it. I was like,
we'll revisit that and see what happens. But yeah, boys, I think that's going to wrap us up for today. We got our choices locked in. It's saved here. You can't change it. There's no takebacks. Either way, I think we kind of all are winners here in the sense of this year is absurd. And
did you say Hollow Knight is a potential takeback?
Except for that one, yes. If anyone wants to replace a game with Silk Song, depending on a release date, but remember, it would have to release by October to be included, right? I don't see that happening. It's July.
Yeah, I think it's a January, February game, probably.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. So, anyway, and honestly, right, if you're the makers of Silk Song, even though you have a lot of people anticipating that game, with this list of games coming out, why wouldn't you just wait till January or whenever would be best for them? It just makes sense because games are going to get lost.
Your studio anymore until if you don't start selling copies of your game. That's the only reason I can think of.
Yeah, and I would like to think they're not in that place, but especially remember that Silk Song has a Game Pass deal too. It's launching on Game Pass, so they have that
guaranteed money.
Microsoft money. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a good show, guys. Thank you. Despite a light week, we had fun with it. I'm super pumped about all these games. I even until writing this, obviously I knew Remnant 2 was coming in a couple weeks, but it didn't actually hit me that Baldur's Gate was only 3 weeks away. That's just nuts to me. And like Travis, you said, we have a From Software game releasing next month too, which is just nuts.
Mhm.
So pumped, absolutely
I
pumped. The
didn't
problem
even
with
know about that.
if I'm
until this
reviewing
show.
Starfield, I'll probably have Starfield though by the time Armored Core 6 releases, so that's gonna
I
have to
wouldn't
wait
count on it.
as well. You think
Apparently
that's gonna
that
be one
game's
that coming in hot?
Dude,
Dude, but
that's by all accounts, it's coming in like a week before the game comes out.
That's insane.
yeah, how
Yeah.
there's no way reviews get done then. They're gonna have to, well, I mean, some people will just throw a score on it, of course, but I mean a real review, like there's no way you're gonna review Starfield in 30, 40 hours.
If
Just
I
not.
were to review Starfield, and I'm not saying that I would, but if I did get review Starfield, it would be because we got the code a week before the game comes out, and they were like, Travis, you're the only person who could go goblin mode enough to review this game. And that's the only way I would get to review that game, is if it comes in so hot that they're like, who do we know who has no loved ones or any responsibilities? And then they would turn to me.
Yeah.
By the way, I do like that every week you say you have no loved ones as you got engaged like 6 months ago.
She doesn't love me. It's purely political.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's all the clout you can get
Yeah.
from an IGN reporter.
Yeah, well, no, she's just, she, you know, her family and my family were going to kill each other, and you know, it was a political arrangement.
Yeah.
So you know,
You
we're
make
stronger
do.
together. It's an alliance. Yeah,
You're the dominant of fire.
yeah, that's right.
I don't really have much to speak about on this week. I did not get to the headset review last week of the Maxwells. I'm going to do that this week, so I'll get to that. So keep an eye for that. Like I said, if you want to know more details about Diablo season, we have that up for you. And our Final Fantasy 16 review is late because of just the sheer length of the game and the time our reviewer put in. But his thoughts are up on that as well. He really enjoyed it. So other than that, but Travis, what do you got, man? Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, I've got my review of Everybody Wants to Switch. You can see on IGN.com. This week, I'm going to have another game that's going to get added to the pile of terrible games that IGN's made me play. I can't say what that game is, but it's bad. And then next week, I'm going to start reviewing Remnant 2, so you can check that out. I also have a whole bunch of previews that I think you should check out. I think I have 6 going live in the next 2 weeks. One of them went live on Friday, which is a preview of a game called My Friendly Neighborhood, which answers the very important question, what would Resident Evil look like if it happened on Sesame Street? And so you end up getting attacked by evil Muppets on a Sesame Street set, Sesame Street-like set, and an evil Big Bird and Grouch, and it's a very strange game. I think that comes out next week, but you can read my thoughts on it. I played most of the game by this point.
His name's Oscar.
Oscar, yeah, the Grouch guy. Well, they give a different name for him in this. Was it
Just
Larry
like
or something? Ray? He's got like some garbage name. Anyway, so yeah.
Apologies, can't even be named Ray.
Travis pulling his shovel out as always. He always has the shovel like in his back pocket, just ready to go.
I'm sorry. If your name is Ray, if you go by Ray, your odds of being a plumber or a garbage man increase by 90%. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
What's wrong with plumbers or garbage men?
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying your odds of being a trash human, like a waste human, I don't know if there's a better way to describe it, go up. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's the end of the episode.
It's at this point, Season Gaming, who does not have lawyer representation, says Season Gaming does not condone the thoughts or comments of.
Oh boy! All right. Well,
the thoughts of Tie Guy Travis are not the thoughts of anyone else ever.
Ever. Yeah, I like the ever at the end.
Look, I'd rather be original than boring. And you know what? This is legal advice. This does create an attorney-client privilege. Everything I'm saying right now.
I'm just going to go ahead and mute him, guys. It'll be easy.
I don't respect laws. Do whatever you want. All right. Anyway, yeah, you can read all my stuff on IGN.com and follow me on Twitter or Threads or wherever we're going in this post-apocalyptic world. And yeah, thanks, guys.
All right. By the way, we got a very late super chat just now. Not thankfully related to any of the comments Travis just made. But Rob comes in and asks us,
can you lock in your final guess on the percentage outcome of the PI ruling for FTC versus ABK?
So I wouldn't say percentage, guys. Let's go ahead. Injunction granted or not granted?
Yeah, that's the percentage.
I mean, so
but I just yes or no.
I've discussed this last week. It hasn't changed, obviously, since nobody's done anything. But I lean towards no PI. I know Travis leans towards the PI being issued. I wouldn't put anything at a percentage because we're really just living in the brain of one human being now.
If I put it in a percentage, it would be 50-50. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's like that. It's like I tilt towards no PI. Travis tilts towards there being PI, but I think we're both on. You're pretty much in coin flip land.
Yep.
And I don't care whatsoever. I'm just going to say granted because I can pick. Because this is not real life. Doesn't matter.
You're going to say granted? Like
Granted.
Yeah, I think so, probably. But 50-50 would be my percentage.
I just want it to be over. And
that's not going to happen regardless of the outcome. I hate to tell you.
This will carry on. This is our life now.
The CMA hasn't even begun yet. There's a whole appeals process going on.
So I hope you're, Rob, thank you for the super chat. I hope it was worth hearing two people say 50-50. Because apparently they can't just pick a word.
We're being honest. He asked for a percentage. We gave him exactly what he asked for.
Yeah. Yep. That's fair. I don't even know where I was. Hoeg, anything you'd like to shout out?
You're in Friesland. You're in frozen land.
I give up. That's how I'm going to end the episode. I'm ending with a big
Lawyers
smile.
and Dragons on the hoeglaw channel, and I intend to hopefully do some analysis of whenever the court's opinion on FTC Microsoft comes out, but I can't promise that either because it's still a process of getting back up to video production.
Gotcha. Man, I mean, literally, if it weren't for you, I would have no information on this whatsoever. I mean, because
I want to come back and talk to people about these things, and a lot of nice people ask me questions about it. It's just that video production is proving elusive. He said while on video, but live streams are different. Live stream conversations about video games are different than legal analysis.
Yeah. Shush says Thomas Zane will write both outcomes. So he's on point.
Perfect.
Thomas Zane. Not Timothy Zahn. Thomas Zane.
Thomas Zane.
Yeah. Who the hell is Thomas Zane?
Thomas Zane.
Dan doesn't know Tom
Welcome
Zane.
to the show, Dan. I don't know if you've... he's the diver. He's the diver. Do I have to sing the whole song to you?
No, you don't.
I'll do it.
No, I'm muting him again. On that note, we're going to go ahead and end. Chat, you've been great today. Thanks for joining us in the conversation. We'll have some fun with the Game Awards later this year, and Alan Wake 2 apparently as well. We'll see what happens this week, of course, and we will talk more next week, hopefully, about Travis's terrible game as well. But hope you have a good week enjoying games. Thank you, as always, for joining us, and we will see you next Sunday. Peace.
You must find the witch's cabin key.